Hello, my name is Stephen Hay, and today we are going to be discussing the web-based version of QuoteRUSH. So this is going to be a basics on the QuoteRUSH web-based system. So this will be something that all end users will want to know regardless of their permissions based. And normally I like to start with how to change your password after you've used the temporary one, and of course the multi-factor authentication number to enter the system the first time. What you're going to want to do is navigate up to the blue circle with your initials in there, which is also known as your profile. And then we are going to go to Profile and Settings here. And here you can do some user info like your name, email, a phone number to be shown on the quote summary, the multi-factor authentication used for one-time codes, but you can actually enter a password and confirm the password. Once this is done, you will of course want to come and update the profile. Now I will briefly go over the cluster of 4 squares that you do see towards the top right hand side of the screen, which is also known as our quick tools, which things can be done like adding a new lead. If you are an agency manager, you can do things like the user manager, site manager, and even install QuoteRUSH, as well as some integrations as well. Perfect. So what I'd like to do normally is go over the home screen of the web-based version of QuoteRUSH, where you can see your leads by status here. You can actually see your leads by source, any new all the way to bound clients, as well as your total leads, your total quotes, and your lead conversions. Now, on the home page, you actually have your most recent leads that you can show up to 100. That way you're not, going page by page. You can just click on the 100 and it will show you your 100 most recent leads. Now, how to pull up your lead in the QuoteRUSH web-based system is as simple as coming down to your recent leads and clicking on the name. Or you are more than welcome to come up here to this magnifying glass that you see next to the home option, and then you could just type in the last name, first name, and it will pull up that lead for you. But moving along, we are going to go ahead and discuss how to add a new lead. So we're going to start with this new lead button that you do see. It is a green button that says plus new lead. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and show you. And of course we have our options of home, auto, or flood, and you can choose all 3 in case you do decide you would like to cross-sell. But for this example, we're going to go ahead and use the home, and we're going to show you some information that you need to fill out. First name all the way down to how long have they lived there. But some of the more pertinent features of the program are going to be your apply defaults that you see here, as well as property addresses, same as mailing address. It will pull that information from the contact side and add it to the home if you are running home. Now, we do like to mention in the web-based version, we are also going to bounce this lead off of some third-party data as well and pull that information in for you, kind of like our get property details in the desktop version. So when you go to actually verify the address and you do click submit, when you go into that lead, you're going to see something closer to a more filled out lead. I do always like to mention as well, if you are running auto and you do have the LexisNexis feature, it will also pull in the driver's license number and date of birth for the primary driver, as well as the year, make, model, and VIN number to any vehicle associated with that address, which makes the actual loading or the adding of a lead very simple within the web-based version of QuoteRUSH. So once you have filled all this information out and you have verified the address, you can just come right on down here and click submit. Now I'm going to actually go in and show you a test lead that we do have. So this is Abraham, Lincoln, Texas. So I would like to show you, this is more or less the overview page of the web-based version of QuoteRUSH. So when you do load your lead, you're going to see your quote descriptions, your carrier, and some actions as well, like to view your quote messages, edit the quote, or delete the quote altogether, as well as the add quote button in case you wanted to add your own personal quote, the hide zero premiums, or reset the table. Now, of course, our slider is going to show you up to the 7 days ago all the way to show all time, so you can see the majority of the quotes that you have run for that particular client. Now, those tabs are separated by home, auto, and flood, of course. But what we're actually going to do is we are going to come up over to this edit button. So it's going to be the eyeball that says edit. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And it's going to bring us to what looks similar to the desktop version. So you are going to have your overview tab, your client tab, home, all the way over to the run quotes tab. But we are going to start with the overview tab here, because I do always like to go over a contact with you. In this overview tab, you can see information like the name, the email who it's attached to, the form type, your actual lead ID as well, and then of course you're assigned to your lead source and the status of the actual contact here. Now, before moving on to the actual client tab, I do always like to mention these buttons that you see up here and here as well. So the edit button, we know we are in the edit button because we can make changes within this contact. You can actually add a reminder. You can actually send these quotes or send this client directly to the virtual bot. You can request information update link. So basically you will send out a web form that will allow the client to update their personal information. And of course we have a generate proposal as well if you do have the client dynamics system available, or if you have chosen to either select our proposal manager or our premium proposal manager within the QuoteRUSH system. So moving on down, we have the green save lead button. Now we do not auto save within the system, so we do ask that as you are moving through these individual tabs, entering this information, that you are saving the lead as much as possible. The next option is going to be duplicate lead. So in case you did need to duplicate the lead, you would have the ability right here. As well as just in case they did not apply when you first entered that contact, you do have an apply defaults button here, which I will go over how to set those default settings here very shortly. You have your reminder, and then of course you have your delete lead altogether. Now before I move into the rest of the information, I do always like to show people where to actually set their apply defaults in the web-based version of QuoteRUSH. So what you're actually going to want to do is go to your profile, back to your profile and settings. And this time we're going to go to the settings option that you see right next to the user info button. And then you are going to see set defaults for property as well as set defaults for auto. Now I'll briefly click on this and show you this is some of the information you can enter. All the date of birth. Now these are separated by subsections, so we do ask that you fill out as much as possible. Now when you are actually filling out these set defaults for your property or your auto, the way we do explain you wanting to more or less answer these questions is look at the question like your date of birth. Now ask yourself, if this was the last question on that quote form in order for me to bind this policy, what would I put here? And that's how we would like you to answer the questions within the set defaults for property. So I am actually going to go right back on over to the home tab. I am going to go ahead and reload my lead again, back up to the edit button here, and then we're going to continue on through the rest of the program here. So I'm going to move on over to the client tab, and you'll notice these things, up at the top, nothing changes, it just flows into this particular subsection here. And now as you can see, our applicant information, we have our applicant contact info, any co-applicant, and then of course a previous address here. And once again, as you are moving through the system, we are asking that you make sure you save your lead here. Moving on over to the home tab, of course the first thing it's going to ask is for you to select the actual form type here. As well as we do have the get property information that will open up the county appraiser, but it will not pull in any information automatically, as well as the open appraiser, and we even have the lookup miles to coast in case you would like to add those. Same with the option to add the property address if the same is the mailing address, and then some construction info as well. We also have a building permits, so if there is any attached to it, you can click that get permits and it should pull that information in for you. Your coverages, this you should be no stranger to this. Do always like to mention we do have a coverage A calculator, and you can actually set these to better suit the standard economy and premium amount within your agency. And then you can update the coverage amount or update the calculator amounts for the agency. You have your deductible info all the way down to your current/previously insured. Your 4-point and wind mitigation are separate tabs, some security information as well. And then of course your endorsements and discounts, all going to be under that home tab. Moving on to the driver and auto. Of course, if you are running just auto, you would need, of course, select the auto when adding that new lead, entering your information in the client tab, and then moving on over to the driver and auto, which of course we should have. If you are entering those drivers in manually, you can of course type in all the information with your policy info, your individual drivers as well, with the option to edit and delete here. And then, of course, any vehicles associated with that particular contact are going to be under the vehicles, with the importance of adding a vehicle if you do need to, editing any particular vehicles you do already have in the system, or deleting them altogether. Moving right on over to the flood tab here. Of course, this information shouldn't be new to you guys. If you are seasoned agents, you would just want to, of course, fill out all that apply. But I do like to mention, as you are moving through the system, that we do ask that you fill out as much as humanly possible. We, of course, can only be as accurate as the information that you do give us. So once you've entered your flood zone information, your flood info, you can move right on over to the RCE tab. Now, of course, once again, these are broken down into different subsections, meaning you have your kitchens, baths, and garages. You have your climate control. You have your flooring, must equal to 100%. You have your porches, decks, and patios with the option with this plus add to add. And then, of course, you have your delete or remove options for those as well. Quality details, of course, is going to be the quality grade of your foundation, average wall height, and then, of course, site access. And then your current RCE. So this is going to show you any current RCEs that have been ran for this particular client right here under the current RCEs tab. Okay, so moving right on over to the underwriting tab here. Now, this one I won't explain too much onto it because you guys as agents should know that these are what we consider knockout questions. So chances are, if any one of these have been answered, is the property located on more than 5 acres? Does the insured have a prior felony or conviction? If any of these are checked, what's going to happen in the system is it's going to try to give you some numbers, but chances are you will not be able to bind that premium due to underwriting guidelines. So, if you come in here and you do click on any of these, chances are you will be hit with a declination. If not, you will receive a quote, but will not be able to bind that actual premium. Of course, fill out all that apply. We do have a breed checker, as well as some miscellaneous ones down here at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move right on over to the Predictor tab here. And I'm going to go ahead and click this Open Predictor button. Now, what you're going to see, the information that is filled in is going to be filled in based on my lead that I do have loaded. So it's going to pull in information like the year built, the coverage A here, the square footage, and then underneath those particular fields are going to be your criteria. So you can lower the criteria, raise the criteria, whatever you would like to do. You can plus or minus the year built. You can go within a certain percentage of the coverage A. You can plus or minus some square footage, as well as match the first up to 5 digits of the zip code. And then, of course, it should have your form type, as well as your construction type and carrier. These construction and carriers are optional. And of course, you have your hide zero premiums and the show only my carriers option. Now, of course, our predictor tab, if I clicked some get results here, I should be able to see something, but this is a test database, so if nothing shows up, I'm still going to explain. If I did click the get results here, what I'm going to see is actually some information on other users within the QuoteRUSH system and what kind of business is being written in your area. So this is actually useful for a few things for you guys. Simply one, to know that this is the particular carriers, and this is about the average of what these other agencies are running, but it will also give you the opportunity to go, okay, well, I see that Travelers is writing a ton of business in my area. I do not actually have them appointed as a carrier, so it does give you the option to reach out to them and, of course, get them appointed as carriers. But once again, this isn't information you would want to send out to your client. This is going to be for you guys as the agents only to see just kind of what kind of business is being written in that particular area. So moving on along in the program, we're going to go ahead and move on over to this Run Quotes tab. Now, of course, under the Run Quotes tab, we do have your home option and your auto option as well. So when actually coming into your submit quotes request, this is going to send these quotes to the virtual bot, allowing this to be run in the background while you are still freed up to handle any walk-in or same-day business that you would need to. You would, of course, want to select your carrier one by one, and you will see them in the selected list, or you can have the option to add all and see all of your carriers within that list, as well as run the RCE on the carrier. So you actually have the option for that. So once you've chosen your quoting method, so once you've chosen your carrier list, you should see the estimated time in here. You should see these change as you are running these quotes. You should see this estimated time be done. So once you do submit that quote request, you are going to wait for those quotes to come back in. Now, normally I get asked is, how do we see those quotes? What if we want to see the process that it is currently going through? That's going to be very simple here. So yes, after you've sent your leads to the virtual bot, you can actually come right on over, navigate to the left-hand side of the screen, and go to this bot queue here. Alrighty, we are at what we call the bot queue. So once again, the left-hand side of the screen, you would want to come in here and you can actually see your quote status by hour, last 12 hours, of course. You should see the amount quoted, if there were any errors, and of course if there was any timeouts as well. But your quick actions that you do see next to the to-do list is going to quote volume by hour. So this is going to show your submitted quotes, any processed, and then your average hourly quoting capacity. So if you come in here and see that your bots are running a little slow, you would like the process sped up a little faster, you can absolutely achieve that by adding additional virtual bots to your system. That's really all I'll go over with as far as the bot queue goes. But before we do end the call today, I do always like to mention a few other things, like our training portal. So once we do go into the training portal, what you are going to see here are searchable by keyword tutorials. We do have your basics, your advanced, quick tools, your settings, your tabs, and even how to contact support. Once you do click on these, you're actually going to see a step-by-step guide with click points showing you those particular functionality within the web-based version of QuoteRUSH. As well as our training portal does allow you to sign up for our particular webinars, our beginners training, our QuoteRUSH Web beginners training, our efficiency training, as well as our client dynamics introduction. We do have our current training videos, the basic and the version, and of course the auto quoting on the desktop here, as well as some frequently asked questions, and we even added our desktop app training portal in here as well, just in case you wanted to get additional information on the desktop version of QuoteRUSH. Once again, that is all I have to go over with everyone today. This was just a basics for you to kind of or go over things within the system that every user should know regardless of permissions. But that is all I have. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day today. Thank you, and bye-bye.